All right, we're back. We have a big show. We have a lot to discuss. We are going to talk about Best Supporting Actress, do our deep dive, our top 10. And there's been, I feel like, a lot of recent development in this category. So,
Like overnight, because suddenly people are watching The Color Purple. It's a thing that's happening.
yeah, people in
No
America
reviews
love
out
it.
yet. These are like guild screenings, but yeah,
People in Brazil hate it, apparently.
yeah,
So it's I don't know. Again, once again, I don't know what to make of it all, but we're going to chat about it, I'm sure,
yeah,
because it did impact my list. So, yeah, should we jump right in?
yeah. So the usual method that we apply to the other two dip dives, we have ranked list of 10 that we haven't shared with each other. We're going to start from the bottom, and then if someone appears on both of our list, the other person says where, and we talk about that person.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Okay, should I start or should you start?
I think I started last time, so why don't you
All
start?
right. So I made some revisions overnight because we heard things about the color purple and it now exists and people have seen it. All of this to say that my number 10 hasn't really changed. I had Natalie Portman at 10 for Best Actress and have Julianne Moore at 10 for Best Supporting Actress for May December. Do you have her in at all?
I have Julianne Moore at 7.
7. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I think my reasoning is that, and this is probably has got nothing to do with her or Natalie Portman, but it seems like Charles Melton is going to happen.
Oh, yeah. I think he's 100% happening now.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess we'll talk about him next time, but because it is a movie that now seems to be in contention for supporting actor and for screenplay, I would say. I feel like Julianne Moore in an Oscar-friendly movie is always part of the conversation. I feel like she should be higher up the list, but then everybody I have on top of her, to me, is a little stronger. So, yeah, I'm still not sure what to make of this film. And is it coming? It's coming out like what? Within the week, 2 weeks, something like that.
Yeah, and pretty soon, because all the press is happening right now, and I'm seeing them on red carpets and stuff.
Yeah,
So,
maybe like the end of November, like very early December on Netflix, right?
yeah.
So I feel like
So,
I'll have a better sense of how to rearrange things around after I see it. I still think that of the three, obviously Melton, I wouldn't say he is a lock, but probably likely in.
yeah,
Julianne
he's a
Moore, I
strong
think a little
candidate.
stronger than probably Natalie Portman, just because there seems to be a little more room in here in terms of the overall competition.
Right.
Um,
And what I'm not seeing is like specifics about like Julianne and Natalie, like what differentiates their performances. I mean, I know they're like Natalie is trying to become Julianne's character, but like,
is that what's happening? I don't even know. I don't even know.
oh yeah, it's about Julianne Moore is like a Mary Kay Letourneau character, and so Natalie Portman is an actress who's going to play her in a movie. So she's
Oh,
visiting her to like observe, and it's very Black Swanish in a way. But I think I'm not seeing enough specifics about their performances being like singled out or great. So I feel like they might kind of dilute each other.
it's a
And
competitive category, I think.
yeah,
But Julianne Moore is Julianne Moore. I feel like she could start showing up here and there with critics, and that would, I think, definitely help. I don't know that this is really an industry movie. It's more something that probably happens on like the strength of a lot of critics like awards or nods. But yeah, it's hard to talk about it not having sort of seen it. I don't even know how much screen time she has, honestly. And I'm assuming it's a pretty substantial role, which helps. So, of the people that I had, just outside the 10, she to me is the most convincing
Yeah.
one.
I think it's kind of a co-lead situation. So I think
Yeah.
because they don't do two people in lead anymore, Julianne's getting put in supporting. So that could help her having like such a large role.
Yeah. You're
But
you're
again, all
slightly
the
more sold on her than I am, but I think it's because maybe you rearrange things around with like the color purple ladies.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's some movement for those ladies, and I think again, I think all eyes are on Melton, Charles Melton. So I don't imagine either Natalie Portman and Julianne are going to get in. They may show up at the Globes, but I think
Yeah.
also the movie itself it's gotten good response, but it seems like a very complicated movie, not like tonally complicated, where it's like it's funny and it's creepy and
Odd. Yeah.
dramatic and it's sad, and it's not that that's bad, but in the advertising of it feels like they don't know what they want it to be or what they want to say with it. So that might make it kind of just fall outside of being I think, full-fledged Oscar contender.
Yeah. It's also a very strong year. In a weaker year, I would say Julian Moore and kind of like an
Yeah.
Oscar adjacent vehicle is probably in, but I don't know because I'm looking at the rest of the list and I don't know. Yeah, who do you have at 10?
I have Juliette Binoche in The Taste of Things.
Which is my number 8.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Yeah, former Oscar winner.
yeah,
The Gotham Awards put her in the conversation, I think, firmly. Uh, that being the France's official submission, so it's definitely going to be in contention for the foreign film and probably will get nominated. Actually, no, I don't have it in my top 5, I think, right now. But
yeah. But it could.
it could, yeah. Um, I think it's also the type of performance that could definitely show up in some critics awards to kind of keep it afloat. I don't imagine she'll get at the Globes or even the SAG, but I could definitely see her showing up at BAFTA.
Yeah,
Um,
SAG is a possibility just because she is an Oscar winner. I think she has a name recognition. But a lot of it, I think, depends on how well the movie is going to do and if it's going to get nominated for foreign film. It would be, I think, I don't know how often it's happened that an actor makes it in from one of the foreign film submissions without the movie actually making it into foreign film.
Oh yeah, that's a good
an interesting
question.
stat. Yeah, I don't think it's. Has it ever happened? I'm sure it has.
I'm sure it has,
Yeah.
but that's a great question.
There was also like a stretch of. Quite a
Oh,
long
and I mean, it's
stretch of
happened in
years.
Lead, I think. Sorry, go ahead.
It must have happened in Lead, yeah. No, I was just going to say that there was a pretty long stretch of time where the year that your movie was submitted for foreign film, it was only eligible there, but then the following year, it became eligible everywhere else. So there was probably like a split some years in terms of like the movie and then the cast. But yeah, I can't, off the top of my head, I cannot.
I'm thinking before. I don't think Before Night Falls was nominated for foreign, and I don't think A Better Life was nominated for foreign.
And those were the
lead actor.
foreign film submissions for Spain.
Oh, I don't know if they were the official submissions. That's a good question.
Yeah, I was saying like
I see what we're saying. Yeah.
specifically a movie that's sent by a country for foreign film that doesn't make it in, but then there's a performance that makes it into one of the acting categories. Yeah, it's an interesting stat, and I want to look into it. But I feel like if it happens, it happens in a world where Taste of Things is probably top 3 in foreign film. Because I still think it's not going to win foreign film, but it could be, I think, strong enough that it's comfortably in, and then people that have seen it, like Juliette Binoche, and then that happens.
Yeah, I could see a path where she gains some steam throughout.
Which would be great. She's been like nominated. I think last time she was nominated was like what 2000, 2001?
I think for Chocolat.
Chocolat. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was the year of Erin Brockovich.
So that's been a while.
Yeah, yeah. It's
It seems
been
like she hasn't aged. I feel
well.
either.
She's French, and she's a goddess. So
Yes, exactly.
she's a French goddess.
But it's like either she was 45 in 1997 or she's 45 now. Like one of the two.
I don't think she was ever 45.
I think she's just always been. Yeah,
She's always been
just
Juliette
her.
Binoche.
She's just been Juliet. She just is an idea. She just exists.
I'm gonna have to watch this film. I think I started off like very salty because of they didn't send an Enemy of a Fall, but I'll get around to it, and it's supposed to be good, and she's supposed to be very good in it because
Yeah, I've come around to. I was like, oh, this seems like the normal stupid foreign film choice for France, but then
It kind of
reading the
reminded me of
reviews,
Chocolat, actually,
yeah, that's exactly the vibe it gave me, and I like that movie's like, ugh,
and I was like, but
it's like
yeah.
Maestro but with food.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think I definitely want to check it out now for her, especially.
yeah, and I was looking at my number 9, and it was really interchangeable. I think because my number 9 right now is Claire Foy.
Mine too.
For All of Us Strangers, and I think for the longest time I moved things around with especially with Taraji, but she was, I think, at some point my number 6, and I still think that she has a very reasonable shot at making it in, actually, especially because we're both predicting what's his name, Andrew Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're both predicting him to make it in. So it is, I think, a very good performance, and I think she does something very interesting with the character in that she plays it as opposed to like Jamie Bell, who plays it very straightforward. There's something very aloof about her. Like she kind of like subconsciously realizes that she is dead in a way. She has, I think, a really good scene with Andrew Scott, where he's basically coming out to her in like as an adult in like their kitchen, and she's been snubbed a couple of times, which is, I think, both good and bad because there's a bit of like an overdue for a nomination narrative, but also she has been snubbed twice, which never helps. I think this is the most I've liked her in anything, though.
That's great.
Yeah.
My reasoning for number 9 and not higher is the buzz has been, I feel like, very squarely on Andrew Scott and a little bit of Paul Mescal. But if All of Us Strangers becomes sort of like a mini Oscar hit where we get like an actor, we get supporting actor, we get a screenplay, I could see Claire Foy also getting swept up in that mini momentum.
Yeah, I kind of hope it happens. And there's people that I have in my top 5 that I actually don't care for. So this would be, I think, a deserving performance, and I think she's been building some cred. So yeah, if the film was just slightly more high profile, but I would imagine that she is probably in a BAFTA.
Oh, that feels pretty comfortable to me. I feel.
Yeah, which I think would help her case. But I would say on the strength of that, if the movie picks up some steam, it becomes more of a contender in actor, in screenplay, then I could totally see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's your number 8?
My number 8 is America Ferrera for Barbie.
I don't have her in, and she was one of the people that I had to take out. Yeah.
Yeah, she was in my top 5 for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think there are bigger, shinier performances. And she has her monologue, and I know people love that monologue, but
it's okay.
There's nothing. Yeah, let's be honest, it's very Laura Dern in Marriage Story.
I love her, but it's very stagey, and
Which I know we disagree on.
No, I'm more on the side of she was definitely in that movie.
Yeah, she was definitely in that movie, and I feel like America Ferrera was
Definitely in
definitely
Barbie.
good in the movie.
Yeah.
She's more of an idea than a character,
She is her
and
monologue,
she has the monologue.
but she is that monologue. That's pretty
That's
much
it.
the character.
Yeah. Outside of that monologue, there's not much going on for her character.
No. And as I
No.
said, it's a monologue that feels very theatrical in a way, both the way that it's written and the way that it is delivered.
Yeah. Yeah.
I knew that going into the movie, I knew that she had that moment. I was looking forward to it, and then when it happened, I was like, "Oh, okay,
hmm
okay." Um,
If Barbie
so
becomes a juggernaut, I could see her
yeah,
getting swept along, but just looking at it, I don't know. There just isn't enough there for me for her to get in. I don't think there's going to be a lot of people who are like, that was the best performance I've seen all year. You know what I mean?
yeah, it creates also a situation where then pretty much everybody gets in, but the actress who played Barbie.
Yeah,
Which, I mean,
which would be really weird.
it's just weird. It's weird, and I mean, we could be wildly off in terms of Robbie's chances, uh, and maybe she has been like up there at like 2 or 3 all along, and we just did not really, yeah, acknowledge that. But I don't know. I don't have her in. I don't have Ferrara in. I'm thinking about. I'm not done reorganizing supporting actor, but I'm not even like 100% sure about Gosling. So yeah, just having her in when I'm not sure I'm going to predict anybody else from the movie feels a little weird. I know it's like different categories and different competition, but yeah.
Yeah, there's though the Oscars apparently want to do a Barbie number to open the show, so I don't know if that's a portent things to come, but is that the right word? Use of that word, portent, an omen.
I know when things I mean, it could be a situation where it's like we're not really nominating it anywhere, so here's your tribute, or
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I think they're definitely going to nominate it in places because I
I
think
know, yeah.
they need the ratings, or they think that will bring ratings. But yeah, it remains to be seen if it's going to be just below the line or if
I'd be surprised at this point if it wasn't somehow in picture.
it'll be in picture.
But I
Yeah, with
mean,
10, it'll be in picture.
I think anything else sort of like above the line, if it misses, I'd be like, yeah, yeah. I think it's
Yeah.
going to be a juggernaut when it comes to like the technicals, and it deserves to be, rewarded for that. It
No, I
is
think,
being very well
yeah,
produced.
it's my number
But
one for production design.
yeah, but in terms of acting, I just couldn't find really any one performance to really,
Yeah. Sorry,
electrify.
America.
Yeah, yeah.
I had you there for a while, girl, but things
Things
change.
change. My number 8 was Juliet. So my number 7 is Taraji for the color purple. Where do you
Nice.
have her?
Um, and I had Julianne Moore for 7. So let's talk Taraji.
Okay. Do you have Taraji anywhere?
I have her at 5 right now.
Yeah. So I would say that for me, 5, 6, and 7 at this point are just interchangeable. My number 5, when we'll get to her, there's just been, I think, a little more press written about that performance where, it's been reviewed. As opposed to the ladies from the color purple, where I mean the movie seems like it's embargoed until pretty much the release date.
Which
So
is bizarre to me. Am I missing something? Like, do I not understand embargoes? But that seems weird.
I generally, to me, it's not a good sign.
I mean, I know it didn't do the festival circuits. That's one
Mm-mm.
thing, but it
I
seems like
mean,
most
it started
Oscar
test
films.
screening like last September, like as in like September 2022,
Oh wow.
poorly. So now I think we heard these last few days of press screenings abroad that were not amazing. And then it started, I think, screening for the guilds these last like 2-3 days, and I think the reception there was a little more, what was a little warmer, probably.
Yeah, and I think it also helps when you have the cast there,
Yeah, yeah.
because you're
It
not going
just
to
feels
boo
like the whole
Oprah.
concept of like the embargo is just literally reviews are not strong enough to warrant building up like a ramping up to like the release of the film. And if they're clearly if the reviews are not good, you're not going to want them to come out before the movie does, because then people will read them and not go. Yeah.
Mhm. My
So
sense is that, well, there was a very telling tweet. This is more about Fantasia, but there's a tweet from a guy who was like, Danielle Brooks has it locked up. She's winning 100%. It's the best performance. He's amazing. And then someone asked, is Fantasia getting nominated? And he's like, well, she could.
oh yeah.
Like all caps could. And I was like, oh, so she's not.
She's not.
She's
Yeah.
not getting nominated.
I mean, we know someone who also said she's not gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone who saw it
So
overnight, and yeah,
to me, that's like, there's going to be people who love this film. I think there's going to have its champions. But it seems to me like between the Brazil response and then seeing some of the stuff on Twitter, like there's going to be people who absolutely love it, and there's going to be people who are like, yeah.
yeah. I mean,
But I do think there's one thing that's going to be a sure shot from it, and we'll talk about that later.
yeah, no, the tweets I was reading from Brazil, it's actually from journalists. Those were like press screenings, and they were not successful. Not successful.
Yeah.
So yeah, I still think that this. Well, I mean, I think to me this right now looks like a movie that could get like a couple of nominations in supporting, and then a few nominations like below the line in terms of production, and that could be it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna probably need to rearrange things when we go over this, probably like next time we talk about this category.
Yeah, but I'm getting a huge. I mean, we'll talk about this more as we go through the rest of the nominations, or the rest of the supporting actress. But I'm getting a very big. It feels like a lot of musicals recently at the Oscars, where it's a performance or two gets spotlit, but overall the response is a bit muted. So like West Side Story, like
Yeah.
it did pretty well in the nominations, but outside of Ariana DeBose, it never really was in the conversation for much.
Yeah.
So I feel like a similar thing might be happening here, like with Dreamgirls, where the lead is kind of not much of a lead, and gets overshadowed by the supporting performance.
Well, Jennifer Hudson was the lead.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, exactly. Yeah. Like, and from what I've heard, Ceely's character is a lot smaller.
A lot in the background. Yeah. Yeah. I was surprised to hear that. Yeah.
Which is only gonna.
I mean, she's the focal point of the film. So, and I don't know anything about the musical. I have to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's hard for me to imagine this story being told in a way where she kind of blends into the background. But
Yeah,
apparently that's what's going on. Yeah.
Which is kind of she's, I mean, one of the great characters of cinema and literature, I think. And so to have her be downgraded a little bit is kind of, I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah, the whole concept of this being turned into a musical, it just, I don't know. I'll need to sit in front of it.
Yeah.
Because I'm having a hard time. And I know that it did well on Broadway and all of that, but yeah.
Let's talk about Taraji specifically.
Yeah. Taraji's amazing.
Yeah.
She's amazing in everything.
She's never not been absolutely incredible.
Exactly. I do think that at the end of the day, when I finalize these in like a couple of months, she'll probably be in. My sense is that she's gonna find a way into my top 5. I think she's probably the most likely to get in, just based on name recognition and also in connection to the role that she plays. I would say Coleman Domingo is also probably in contention to get in. Again, combination of like name recognition and then the role. Danielle Brooks is getting really good notices. But I feel like specifically Taraji, And I was saying this last time. I can't really imagine her not being excellent in
Yeah,
anything she's in. So yeah,
I think
and I'm not
it's
sure how good of a singer she is, but I don't know that that really matters.
yeah. So I think she is. I mean, I have her at 5, and I think because of the name recognition, um, because of the fact that the role was nominated before for the original,
Hmm.
but it is the the I don't want to say the fun role, but it's the more
Yeah,
scene chewy role,
yeah,
which I think in this context makes people take it less seriously to the other two. You know, she's the more brash, big character,
yeah,
which I think she'll be great at. I mean, it sounds like she's really good at it, but it also doesn't seem like much of the focus so far on the responses is focused on her.
yeah.
So, which is, I guess, in line with more of the focus was on Oprah than Margaret Avery in the original.
Yeah,
But
and I feel
maybe,
like Sophia is probably alongside Celie the character of the movie for me.
mhm.
And it's because probably also I have such strong feelings connected to Oprah's performance, where it has really just stayed with me since like '85. It is
Yeah,
just a performance that I think about a lot in general,
yeah,
and a role that I think also just really think gets to the heart of the movie and what the movie is about and what the book is about. So yeah, I feel like Taraji. I wouldn't call it like comic relief, but I think her character represents sort of like the lighter side of the story, or like the side of the story where Celie gets to kind of like get to know herself better, and maybe is not, yeah,
yeah. And then
as
they go to Broadway and they're on a big stage. I still don't understand how that works with the
no,
musical,
yeah.
but uh,
But I would imagine
yeah,
it's not as dramatic a role. So
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
She doesn't have an all my life I had to fight kind of moment.
no.
Yeah, which I think is what a differentiator is for me at least.
Yeah. It is probably in terms of the original film one of the characters that I wished got just a bit more screen time and a little more substance to it.
Mhm.
Because she really works in more as like a function of Celie discovering herself and her sexuality and all of that. Um, Whereas I think in the book she is, I think, more developed as a character unto herself.
Mhm.
So yeah, not knowing what the movie does with her, I'm just going off of the fact that Taraji is amazing, and
Yeah,
yeah, that's
I mean, I have
that's
no
it.
doubt she's going to be great.
Yeah,
She's an icon.
yeah. Do we talk
Uh,
about your number 7?
oh, my number 7 was Julianne Moore. So we already talked about
Okay,
her.
so my number 6 is Daniel Brooks from The Color Purple.
Okay, I have her at 3
Yeah,
now.
yeah, I figured. It's just that the movie still, to me, remains a little untested, and I'm glad that she's getting positive notices. I just need to read a little more about it. 'Cause it could be a situation where we get to talk about this again in like a month. She's like a number one, and she's gonna win, and there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Again, I do think the critical response will be different than what we saw the last couple of days from the Guild response.
yeah,
Uh, I also think what incentivized me to move her up in my rankings was one, the role.
mm-hmm,
It seems like it's a really like it's the role of the movie,
mm-hmm,
more even more so than Celie. Like
mm-hmm.
Celie is sidelined.
Yeah,
Then also I was thinking too. I was like, it has all the hallmarks of things that we like or that the voters like in this category, which is like like big musical numbers, a lot of suffering.
yeah,
So I think we've seen similar performances do well in this category before, or similar on paper types of roles do well in this category. And then I was like, also like she has Oprah behind her too. Like Oprah will be doing press for this movie too. So I think There'll be, no matter what the response of the movie is, if it ends up being like a mixed bag or critics don't like it, if Brazil is right, I think still they'll find a way to highlight or elevate Danielle to get her in. So I'm not ready to say she's going to take it because a lot can happen, but I feel comfortable now putting her in my top 5.
Yeah, I think it's really the trajectory of the character that gets to me. I think she starts off with this big explosion of energy and defiance, and then just gets beaten down on by like life. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think even if the movie is okay, a strong performance in that context, I feel like that would be enough. Mm-hmm. To just single her out, and then she could even win. Yeah. Is there even a title for the original song in the movie at this point? I don't know.
No, that's a good question. I didn't check. I feel like they should know that by now.
It just feels like this is like a movie that people are predicting just based on what might or might not happen according to their own personal guesswork. Mm-hmm. Where there's like literally a song that people have in their top 5 that has no title. It's like TBD from The Color Purple. And I'm a very unserious person, but I'm not that unserious. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Like if they should know what the name of the song is, right? Or they don't have a song yet that they're attaching to the credits?
I have no idea. I just saw it. I just saw it in people's predictions. The song from The Color Purple, the original one.
They're still picking like the credits song.
Okay, who sings it? When? Right. Is it good? What's it called? So I'm kind of there with like the performances as well. It's like, yeah, I know that these people are in the movie, and I've heard mixed things about them, and I'm willing to entertain the possibility, but I need a little more facts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree.
But I think I love it in general for this character to be an Oscar-winning character, even more than the performer behind it. Because I do think that Oprah should have won.
Yeah, there's something in that narrative too of like The Color Purple never won an Oscar.
Yeah, it's
one of the biggest like went home with nothing stories of the Oscar history. Yeah. So coming back in the remake, making having an Oscar-winning performance or just winning an Oscar somewhere, I think there's definitely that narrative. I think that will come up.
Yeah, it's just a role that I just feel very close to, just personally, emotionally. Yeah, so
yeah,
I love it to get.
It's an incredible role.
Yeah,
and I think, looking at Ariana DeBose, to me, not that this will be the same case with Danielle, because I know the musical is a lot different than the original movie.
Yeah,
but
I'm actually expecting Danielle to be good.
Yeah, exactly. I am too. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Like Ariana DeBose won only because of the legacy of the role and the fact that Rita Moreno was like right there to remind people.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. My number 6. Did I already say my number 6?
No, you didn't.
My number 6 is Jodie Foster in Nyad.
Who's still my number 4, but yeah. I was thinking about it today. I don't know.
I think it absolutely could happen because she also had that near miss with the Mauritanian. She had the near miss with the Mauritanian.
Yeah.
And if Benning can get traction, I think Foster could easily get swept up with her. So my 5, 6, 7 is also pretty. Well, actually, I wouldn't say 7 because 7's Julianne Moore, and I'm really not. I'd say my 4, 5, and 6 are pretty
interchangeable.
Yeah, I think it could fall any way where one of those 3 is left out.
Same. So I would say like my 5, 6, and 7 to me are pretty much on the same level, pretty much in terms of how likely they are to get nominated. I wouldn't put really anybody in front of anybody. It's just that this is how I laid it out, and I've seen I've seen like Jodie Foster and I've seen Nyad at this point. I haven't seen my number 5, but there's actual press about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm halfway through Nyad. I have to go back and finish it. I just kind of left Annette swimming. She's swimming now.
You just left her.
Yeah, I'm just gonna let her swim for a while, and then I'll come back to it.
Where did you stop?
Right as she started her swim,
Oh, it's gonna be.
she like
It's gonna
blows the
be.
trumpet and jumps in the water.
Oh, it's gonna be a. It's gonna be a journey. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, again, like if the color purple comes out and it's mixed and people are torn about it, and Danielle Brooks is the only one who gets in, then there's definitely space for Jodie Foster to get in. If Annette Bening becomes, a number 4, number 3 contender, Jodie Foster, I think, could easily also get in.
It's kind of like a performance that reminded me a lot of like how Glenn Close got in for Hillbilly Elegy. As in, first of all, she looks exactly like the real life person. Like they made her look exactly, yeah. And
Those
then I think in
glasses.
many ways it's like a co-lead kind of,
Yes.
yeah, situation. I think that she is probably the catalyst in the film.
She's
And
definitely
like, yeah,
got screen time up the wazoo, so that
yeah.
definitely helps.
I need a. I don't know if Screen Time Central updated with these like this season's movies, but I wouldn't be surprised if she actually has more screen time than Benning. I would not be shocked because a lot of the second half of the film, and then you'll get to that, is just Benning in the water, kind of flailing, and then Jodie Foster actually having lines and acting. On the boat. Yeah. So I'm curious actually to see who gets out on top in terms of screen time because they're really co-leads, and I think the movie is about both their journeys. Yeah.
Yeah. I could definitely see her being like up to number 4 for sure. So I think your instincts are great, and for me it just was like this is how it felt. How the cards fell today.
Yeah, I'm not like super convinced. Again, I wouldn't say that I wouldn't put like the little lock next to her name, but then again, it is a movie that I've seen. It has a performance that now I've been able to like, appreciate. And I would imagine that if the color purple happens, that she probably gets bumped out.
Mm-hmm.
Probably. Yeah. So that's where we're at. I feel like even my number 4 is kind of like with 5, 6, and 7, very kind of fluid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So number 5, I think we're in our top 5 now. We made it.
Yep.
So I had Taraji as 5.
You had Taraji as 5. Okay. My number 5 is Penelope Cruz in Ferrari.
Oh, great. Talk to me.
Well, so it's Penelope Cruz, and I think she is established enough that now she can literally get in. Okay, we were saying performances that get in from pictures that are not nominated from film. She did just that with Parallel Mothers.
Oh, right. Yes.
I just remembered. Was Parallel Mothers submitted by Spain? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So, I mean, and she's a former Oscar winner. She's been, nominated as recently as like 2 years ago, last year, 2 years ago, something like that. Yeah. And as mixed as the reviews for Ferrari are, she has been unanimously praised.
And she looks really good in it too.
Exceptional.
I mean, it's hard for never to. She's always amazing.
Yeah, she's always amazing. She plays a long-suffering wife, I think, which is a bonus. Always, I think, in this category, especially even more than in Best Actress. I feel like it's just a really good archetype when it comes to Best Actress, unless I'm mistaken, and she plays like a really different role. But I think she plays his wife. And for a movie to get a mixed reaction, but then for everybody, because literally every review that I read is kind of like then going off on a tangent. But Penelope Cruz is absolutely incredible. So, yeah, I actually think that if I had spent a little more time in the top 5, I would have probably bumped her up to 4 and maybe Foster down to 5. But yeah, I just think that, yeah, the movie, when we talked about it in terms of the trailer is a little concerning. Yeah. And then the reviews are what they are. So I feel like she doesn't need, again, she's one of those people, she doesn't really need the movie to be amazing to make it in. But then I think in terms of winning, I don't.
I think she could totally be in at the Globes, and that could start a whole trajectory for her.
Do you have her in at all?
No, she was just outside my top 10.
Okay,
which for me, she's guilt by association for that car crash.
Oh yeah, the Gran Turismo car. Yeah.
But I like you bring up a really good point that I wanted to talk about with my next person for my number 4, which is the one thing that a lot of these performances that we're talking about are missing is like the passion behind it. Like there's people, like all of them have gotten good reviews, but with the exception of maybe Danielle Brooks so far that we've talked about, I don't see anyone being like, holy shit, like this is an incredible performance. It's like, oh, it's like Julianne Moore is great. Like Jodie Foster is great. Juliette Binoche is great. America Ferrera, that was a great monologue, but it's not like that holy shit factor.
Yeah.
And I feel like I get a little bit of that with Penelope Cruz in some of the reviews. Like people really like her performance. So I could see her definitely creating a path starting at the Globes.
I've had her in my top 5 for like the longest time. I think since I started reading the earlier reviews for it, and they were all like, this is like her best performance. So yeah, I kind of that kind of made my ears perk up a little bit. And yeah, probably when I rearrange things around, I'd sooner, I think, drop Foster than Cruz from my top 5 if you made me choose. So
because I think also what would need to happen, because Cruz, I don't know if this makes sense, but I feel like if she were to start a path, it would be solely on the strength of her performance.
That's the thing that I wanted to say, that Foster kind of goes hand in hand with Banning.
Right.
They have each other. She just seems like surrounded by a very mediocre film. And she's like, I don't think about it.
And people say like she's like, from what I've seen, she's been really great. The reviews are good, but no one's saying like this is Jodie Foster's like best role ever or anything like that. So there's like that. There's a mutedness to, I think, their response. Same with like May December.
Yeah.
So yeah, I even though she's not in my top 10 now, I'm like, oh, but fuck, I should go back and just boot America or boot.
I would probably say that if it was between Cruz and America Ferrera, I would probably say Cruz is in a better position.
Yeah, I would too.
Overall, just because she's Penelope Cruz.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she's a big star,
Oscar-winning actress. Yeah, but yeah, because I was looking at like the other nominations, and I think like I have Ferrari in maybe like one.
I have it in sound.
I have it in two additional categories, as in sound and makeup.
Mm-hmm. Those totally could happen.
That's it. So
and just to confirm,
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say she's got a big hill to climb, a bigger hill to climb probably than Foster, but yeah.
But the fact that Ferrari is going to be a contender in a couple other categories, I think definitely helps. And just to clarify, yeah, Parallel Mothers was not the official selection. So
there you go. Yeah. I feel like we there's probably a few more instances where this has happened, but maybe not as common to happen in supporting.
Yeah, that would be a good thing to look at. I might go back and look at that after we're done.
Yeah.
See if there's examples. I'm sure there are.
Yeah, I'm sure there are, but I feel like it is not as likely to happen in supporting, which what we were saying about Juliette Binoche specifically. But I mean, if someone can do it.
Yeah, a former Oscar winner.
Who can
who's beloved. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Number 4. I have Sandra Hüller from the Zone of Interest.
Who's my number 2?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine her going back up once the movie comes out. Because again, this is what I wanted to talk about with like the reviews from her in this movie are like, holy fucking shit.
Right.
And I don't see that. There's only 2 other performances I've seen that, and we've talked about Danielle, and there's one other one that I think I would argue that it's had that kind of response. But Sandra's especially has been very holy fucking shit.
Yeah, I bumped her up to 2 because I started reading the reviews for the movie. Because I had her at 4.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm actually thinking that if The Zone of Interest wins foreign film, that I could totally see her win here.
Yeah, and especially if she gets the double nomination,
which I think most people are predicting at this.
Yeah,
point.
if she gets the double nomination, I I see her being a more of a contender in supporting than I do lead. Just because
I agree.
who she's up against in lead.
If she was, I think, not a foreign actress, I maybe look at it differently. But for someone who has never been in contention at the Oscars to then suddenly pop up as a contender in 2 different categories, and just, hailing from Germany, I feel like it's more likely than people, if they want to give her one win, that it's going to happen here off the strength of a movie that is probably winning foreign film.
Yeah. Even though I've still not seen Anatomy of a Fall, I'm hoping to see it this week. I have no doubt that she's very worthy in lead too.
I feel like you're going to feel about that performance the way you felt about Cate Blanchett in Tar.
Oh,
that's what it reminds me. Yeah, that's what it reminded me of in terms of just the aesthetic of the character a little bit, but also sort of like the kind of trajectory in the narrative. And I think there's a quiet strength behind both performances and made them like sort of like similar in my head.
Interesting. No, I'm excited. And everything I read about it is just like that's a role that's getting holy fucking shit reviews.
But yeah, I mean, I think like her reviews for Zone of Interest are even better.
Yeah. I would agree too, based on what I've read.
Yeah, because I started reading like reviews like this past week, and I was like, okay, maybe I need to bump her up because there's like people that are saying like it's like an Oscar-worthy performance. So
I think so many of the people we've talked about so far, I feel like are more there because of circumstance than again the passion of the performance.
Yeah,
I mean, not to take away from they're all really good.
But I know what you mean. Yeah.
But this one feels like there'll be actual passion behind it. People will have this at number 1. People will be like really passionate supporters of her for this.
Yeah. And I do still think that there's a bit of a factor of people that are not as much in the know that, she pops up and they're like, Sandra Hüller, who? But then again, if she gets nominated in both categories, not that that's necessarily a guarantee of like you win one or the other, because Julianne Moore couldn't do it, Sigourney Weaver couldn't do it, so it's not a
Johansson,
right? Yeah, it's not. Thank God, it's not. It's not a guarantee. We've also had situations where someone gets double dipped and then they actually win one or the other. So
yeah,
Al Pacino did it, and then Jamie Foxx did it, and then other people have done it too. So yeah.
And I think she absolutely could do it based on just the strength of her reviews.
And she is better than Al Pacino.
Al Pacino, who? Yeah, she could do Dog Day Afternoon, but he could never do Tony Erdmann. I'm just saying.
Exactly. No one could do Tony Erdmann. Oh, so good. So good. So all of that to say that she's my number 2 with, I think, a fairly reasonable shot. November, but I could see her win.
I think she's 4 for me. Just I shuffled things around based on what happened this week. But I think just because her movie right now has not come out, it's going to have its time in the spotlight. And once I think more eyes and press get on her, she'll definitely rise up in that ranking for me.
Okay. Yeah. So she was your number 4. We talked about my number...
Yeah. My number 3 was Daniel Brooks.
Okay. So my number 3 is Emily Blunt.
Great.
In Oppenheimer. Do you have her?
I have her as number 2, yeah. But
okay. Yeah,
but I'm doing it. I don't know if my brain is broken, but I'll go ahead and I'll tell you why I have her at number 2. I don't think she's winning at all.
Go ahead. She is one, I think, of 3 people that right now I could conceivably make a case that she could win. I think that it's become slightly less likely now that we know a little more about The Color Purple. But I mean, the movie is the presumptive Best Picture frontrunner. Mm-hmm. She's someone who I think is incredibly well established, who's still waiting on her first nomination. She plays a role that they historically love to award. And she has a big scene. But generally, I think for other people, that's been enough. I think that's fair to say. Other people have sort of like written that narrative like all the way to like an Oscar win. I'll say that the reviews that I've read do sort of like they do highlight that scene, but also pretty much say that for the rest, she's in the background a lot. So yeah. And again, I still haven't brought myself to watch this film, but I promise that I will. I promise I will watch this film. I need to overcome my homosexuality and just sit in front of it.
I need to too.
And I do love her. And in an ideal world, she is an actress that I'd be so happy to have an Oscar. Cause she's just really, really wonderful. I just feel like if the role was just slightly stronger or slightly more developed, that she'd be in an even better position.
Yeah. I think if this were 20 years ago and it was really, I feel like that was like the late 90s, 2000s were like at the heyday of like the stalwart suffering wife roles winning.
Yeah.
I think we've moved beyond that a little bit.
Yeah.
I hope. But again, yeah, she's the main female role in the presumptive Oscar Best Picture winner. Also, she hasn't been nominated yet.
Right.
Factor going for her. So, yeah, I have her at number 2 because I don't know if this is if my brain is dumb or but I look at it like most likely to get nominated right now, and I feel like she's absolutely 1,000% getting nominated. Right. Like, she's like after my number 1, she was the next person I was like absolutely getting nominated. I don't think once the nominations happen and I were to rearrange my top 5, I'd probably drop her down to 3. But yeah, I have her at number 2 right now. And
I will say that like in November, my bold like no got some predictions that she's going to win SAG for this.
Yeah. I could absolutely see that for sure.
So there's that, and I think
she'll get in a Globe.
Yeah, I think in terms of, because I had her like at some point in like different iterations of this, she was my number 1 at some point, and because I do think she's winning SAG, I can really make a case that she should be lower than 3. But ultimately, the 2 people that I have in front of her, the reviews are better.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing. Like, I don't imagine she'll be much of a critics' darling for the Critics Awards. I could see her getting in a few places like National Board of Review, maybe, or but I don't see her winning a ton of big Critics Awards. But she'll be on like every nomination list, I feel like.
Yeah, if there's like critics that give out like nominations, then she's in.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but Oppenheimer is much more of an industry film. So yeah, that's why I'm saying like she's, and like SAG loves her. So I think that's also
Yeah, I can see her definitely winning there for sure.
Yeah, that's also part of the kind of like my reasoning, I think. Yeah, but I can't really justify her having her any higher than 3, I think.
Yeah, and then so you have 2 is Sandra Hüller.
Yeah, who's your number 3?
My number 3 is Danielle Brooks. So we've already discussed.
Okay. Yeah.
So we have the same number 1.
What was your number 2?
Oh, my number 2 was Emily Blunt.
So we have the same. Yep.
We have the same number 1.
Yeah, Divine.
Yep.
Yeah. And she's really, I think, a situation where I don't think The Holdovers is going to win anything, but then this is what it wins.
Yeah.
It's going to get a shit ton of nominations, but then not really be in the conversation for picture, for director. I don't think that Giamatti is really in the conversation to win Best Actor, at least. I could see a situation where it gets screenplay, but I think I'm even more sold on Divine winning supporting actress before that. I could see that happen. So, yeah.
Same. Yeah, she has been, I feel like, similar. Granted, I don't think she didn't start I think her first one was in 2013, but I feel like also has a little bit of the Emily Blunt factor of she's been so good for a
Yeah.
while, and she's always great in what she's in. Like she was so good in Dolomite Is My Name. She's great on Only Murders in the Building. Like she's everyone. I feel like has great things to say about all of her roles, and I feel like this one especially, people are just in love with.
Oh, the
her
reviews
role.
are amazing.
The reviews are holy shit, like
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
So I agree exactly with your assessment. I don't think The Holdovers is going to be much of a factor anywhere else. I definitely could see it getting a good chunk of nominations, but this is where I think it wins.
It's one of those movies where I feel like it's really strong in terms of nomination count. And it's probably going to be like everybody's like second or third favorite film of the year, which doesn't win you anything at the end. But then it's I think strong enough, kind of like a Michael Clayton, where people want to give it something, and this is their opening to do that. It's
exactly.
Here, essentially, it could be a situation where it gets screenplay, and the voters are happy, and that takes care of that. The last time I predicted that to happen was with The Favorite. we know how that went. So I don't trust the linear reasoning anymore. I feel like when you like a movie, you're more likely to want to give it one of the acting awards as opposed to just screenplay. I feel like screenplay is just like a notch below in terms of in terms of.
And I think with the screenplay contenders we have now, I don't see The Holdovers. There isn't like an overwhelming push to reward Alexander Payne. He already has an Oscar, so.
I mean, it is in a category where I think for now I'm predicting Past Lives to win. So, I mean, there's that.
Yeah. So it could win screenplay, but I feel like so much of the love of the film
is her.
Is her.
Yeah.
Like she's the what everyone talks about when they talk about that film. Yeah. So I feel she is absolutely in a great position to win.
I'm gonna try and see it next week because it's out now.
Yeah, I wanted to see it this week, but work got in the way, so I'm hoping to see it next week.
I didn't have time, but I'm excited, and it's going to be, I think, especially exciting if this turns into like a 3-horse race with like 3 black actresses.
Yeah, it's amazing. Also, I didn't realize she's in Rustin too. She's Mahalia Jackson in Rustin.
Yes, she's in Rustin.
So she's going to be there's just going to be a lot of chatter about her, and I think there's just a lot of love for her. So I'm excited because I think she's always been fantastic.
Yeah, I just wish I could sit in front of The Color Purple and watch it, because that would simplify my job.
Yeah, that is the biggest thing. And we're not going to know anything until December 23rd.
Yeah, because I get my screeners for The Spirits at some point, I think within the next 30 days, but I don't think that would even qualify for The Spirits.
Yeah, it's because what is it, 30 million and under? I feel like it absolutely has a bigger budget than that.
Yeah. So it's just a situation where, or there's they're inviting me to a lot of like private like screenings, so that could also be a thing. But I don't know, honestly. I just got invited to like a virtual screening for like Memory with Peter Sarsgaard and Jessica Chastain. They're trying to push a bunch of movies, I think. I just don't know The Color Purple is exactly like their niche necessarily. So yeah. Oh,
and going back to what you said, I haven't finished my research on this, but there's only been a couple of times, I think, where a category has had 3 actors of color nominated and only 2 white actors. So this would be, I think, a rare. Last year was one of them.
Last year, I was thinking of the other one. Yeah,
supporting actress, and then the year of Babel. The supporting actress category. And then there was, I think, one other.
Okay, so like you just mean like non-white?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Like, so, which is insane that it's only happened a few times, but it's exciting that the trend has changed and it's now something that we can predict without worry.
Yeah, I think it's very likely actually to happen. And you know, I have like two of them just outside now, but I think it's very likely to happen actually. Yeah, and that probably if it's not
much to Frances Fisher's chagrin.
Yeah. Her wrath.
So it's an exciting year, like in this
for
category.
this category, I think in particular, yeah, it's. I feel like we complain a lot when like categories are kind of like really easy to predict, and then there's like years where we've had, I think, at least one category the last few years where we were like, "What the fuck is going to happen here?"
Yeah, literally anything can happen, which I kind of love.
Yeah. Actress 2021, I think, still remains the most chaotic.
Oh, that was.
And like
we're going to be studying that in the lab BAFTA for decades.
2 days before the Oscars, pretty much. Yeah.
I feel like people were just like, I don't know, Jessica Chastain. I don't fucking care. This is too much.
Yeah. Oh my God, it was. Yeah.
Like, who had the most makeup on? I guess her.
Awards and they were like announcing Best Actress and they cut to Jessica Chastain and I'm like, wouldn't it be hilarious if she just fucking won out of nowhere?
And
then it happened.
Oh my God!
Everything
about that was so weird.
No, like none of us had her in that year.
No, none of us had her in, and then she won. And her speech was post slap, so like everyone was disassociated and like not paying attention to the fact that she won. Anyway, Jessica Chastain could win here. We don't know. Anything could happen.
Ketchup Entertainment needs to tell us about category placement for memory.
Tabasco Sriracha Entertainment.
Maybe it's amazing. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm gonna watch in like, what is it, like 2 days? So yeah, who knows? But I don't know. He won the Volpe Cup though, I think, right?
Oh right, I forgot that.
Yeah, that did happen. So I don't think that the stats for the male Volpe Cup winner are as compelling, but you know, it did happen. So
yeah, I'm looking real quick at that male. Oh yeah, the male Volpe Cup is all over the place.
Yeah,
I think
Javier Bardem, I think, most recently got in at the Oscars.
Colin Farrell got in. Colin Farrell won.
Colin Farrell.
And Willem Dafoe for At Eternity's Gate. But otherwise, it's, yeah. John Arcilla for On the Job, The Missing Eight. Peter Sarsgaard for Memory. Pier Francesco Favino for Padronasto. Like, that's much different. Track record than actress.
Yeah. But it's fun to entertain the notion just because.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not nothing. I mean, it definitely worth noting.
Yeah. We did it.
That's our supporting actress.
That is a supporting actress. And I just feel like it would have been better if we had more press about The Color Purple, but we don't, so you know, there's that.
Yeah, we're going off the information we have.
So we're gonna tackle supporting actor next.
Yes,
and I think I'll have seen The Holdovers at that point, which might or might not change things around for me in that.
I want to
specifically.
I have hopefully we'll have seen a few of the films that I've not yet to help.
And I'm going to try, I swear to God, I'm going to try and watch Oppenheimer this week.
Yes.
Because it feels like, I think we're both predicting probably someone from that movie to do something.
We are.
Yeah.
I guarantee we are.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Until next
see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.